Welcome back to another episode of Corralling the Chaos. Today, we are going to talk about CRMs. And the reason we are going to do that is we continue to talk to all different types of event companies, whether they're small or large, new or been around forever. And every company in every industry, I feel like, just struggles with their CRM. And obviously, with so many different moving parts when doing events, there's a lot of things that can get lost. And so we've heard everything from we keep it in an Excel document, we keep it in Outlook, we keep it in Google Sheets, we keep it in a CRM that's really cool, but we don't know how to use it. And so today we're going to kind of dive in to how to really leverage your CRM. And to help us do that, we've asked Kristen Traynor, who is Lasso's Revenue Operations Manager, to join us. And I may have stalked her to get her to join Lasso a number of years ago because she is an absolute guru. She certainly helped me really kind of break down how we should put our CRM together, because I do think in many things there is a right way and a wrong way. And this is just one of those things. So welcome, Kristen. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. And thank you for that lovely introduction. It is an absolute pleasure to be here.
So I have to ask, how long have you been working in CRMs?
In CRMs, oh gosh, you're going to date me now. It's been at least 10 years. It's probably closer to 12 or 13 years.
So you've seen the evolution of with digital marketing and sales and how things have changed, and making sure you have a CRM to really capture. I mean, don't get me wrong, an Excel spreadsheet might work, depending on your contacts and things like that, but you're really missing the magic of what a true CRM can do if you don't really understand how to leverage that. And so thank you for joining. I know we're going to talk about kind of 10 different things when it comes to your CRM, but first, I want to talk about, why do you think companies need a CRM? If for those of them out there, event companies that have not quite invested in a CRM, what's the case? What's the argument for investing in one?
Hands down, I think the biggest reason that event companies, or any company really for that matter, needs a CRM is operational risk. So when you are operating, when your event, your Rolodex of crew is in your head, and you're operating out of a spreadsheet or whiteboards, and something happens to you, you get sick or you leave the company, all of that data, all of that institutional knowledge goes with you. So if nothing else, you need a CRM so that, God forbid, the worst happens, the business can, keep going and see okay, what's happened with this customer? What communication has taken place? Where are we? What's the next step, without skipping a beat? And that, to me, is the most important reason why companies need CRMs.
So just business continuity, making sure they have everything.
100%.
What else? What are other reasons?
Other reasons that you need it. So effective pipeline management. And what do I mean by that? So being able to track your sales opportunities from start to finish, and then being able to break down, okay, what happened? What went well? Where did we succeed? Where are the failures? Where can we get better? Where are we already doing really well, but where are there places where we can make improvements? And a CRM is a great place to look for anomalies in the data and kind of really dig deep into hey, what's working and what's not working. So pipeline management, I think, is huge. It gives you visibility. It gives you that kind of we call it the 10,000 foot view. So you can see what is going on in my business, give you a snapshot of all the opportunities. And then being able to prioritize, okay, these are the ones that are good for me, good for my business. These ones maybe suck up a lot of my time, and I don't want to be spending my energy there. So we're going to say no to those.
But I also think about, how important, especially in a seasonal business or a seasonal industry like events, it's understanding, well, God, how busy is my June shaping up to be? How busy is my October shaping up to be? And you don't know that unless you have a sales forecast, right? You don't want to know once it's signed. You want to know what's coming, what's kind of in the hopper, what's possible, what's potential, to kind of understand what you need, whether it's in terms of people, equipment, whatever it might be, just having that visibility into what is the rest of the year looking like based on what's in our forecast right now.
That's right. Yeah. And knowing okay, I don't need to panic because this historically has been a low point, a lull in the season for us, or we know this is going to be our busiest time. So let's make other arrangements to kind of take care of some of those common activities. So absolutely, sales forecasting, pipeline management is definitely a big reason for having CRM.
Talk to me about marketing. How does marketing play a part?
Marketing, this is where CRM came from, right? So this is the backbone of a marketing team. So it enables them to segment their customer prospects and customer database so that they can create better targeted messages, and they can hit the right people at the right time with the right message. That is what it all boils down to. And so you can track things in your CRM, what actions people are taking on your website, what interactions you're having with all of your teams, your sales, your marketing, your customer success teams. And figure out, okay, which channels are working well for me? Which channels do we probably not need to invest in because that's not where our customer base is and we don't need to spend time there. CRMs can also help on the customer retention side of things too. So identifying opportunities for expansion or upsells and just helping to kind of make that the handoff between marketing and customer success as seamless as possible. So the customer doesn't feel like, okay, I was sold on this and then I got moved over here and now I don't know what I'm doing. And it just makes it, the whole customer experience a more enjoyable one.
What's interesting about that from a marketing perspective, I feel like every event company, every time I've asked, well, how do you find your business? Oh, word of mouth. And that's just, they're always their go-to answer, which is great because it's a testament to, great, they know how to produce great events and they do a good job with that. Mm-hmm. But there's so much more to get out there if you just have a little bit of a plan, have a solid CRM to use it, and really leverage marketing. So it's not just word of mouth. Imagine if, somebody came to you because they found you online. It wasn't, a referral. And there's just so much more that you can do and convert versus everything just being word of mouth. So I think CRM is a big part of that when it comes to marketing.
Absolutely. And that's how you can track, where you're being successful. Did they hear you on the podcast or did they read a blog post that your marketing team wrote? And knowing which one of those work, again, where your customers like to hang out online, what forums are they on? What ads they're clicking on, what works for them. Knowing that is just invaluable to your business.
Well, when you think about, I also hear companies say, well, great, we bought this CRM and we've been spending money on it. Our salespeople don't want to adopt it because they're not getting in, they don't want to log in and log all their calls. And, salespeople might think it's a management tool. So they're like, well, why? I've spent all this money and I don't really know how to really set up a true CRM other than turn it on and have my salespeople log their activity. And that is not the intent of a CRM, is to just keep track of what your salespeople are doing. Matter of fact, if you bought a CRM just for that, you should not pay that because there's so much more it can do versus that. So for the companies out there that are listening that are either considering investing in a CRM or have, but they just don't know how to get started, what are some areas where they should kind of think?
Yeah. So the first thing, I think, if you're even beginning to think about, looking into CRMs, the first thing you need to identify is, what are you trying to achieve? There are so many different options out there. They do so many different things. But before you even start to look at the vendors or try to compare features, you really need to be able to articulate, what do I want it to do? What do I need it to do for me? So you need to have your goals in mind. Some of those common goals could be, I just want to operate more efficiently. I want to manage my sales pipeline so I know what's coming in and where the status is at any given point in time. Or I want to provide an exceptional customer experience. All of those things can be accomplished using a CRM, but you need to know which one is most important to help you make the right tool selection.
And I even think prioritizing in order, because again, there are hundreds of things your CRM has the potential to do, all of which sound great and can be really advantageous to your business. But even coming up with a top 5, right? Like, this is the first thing we want to implement because it's going to have the biggest ROI or be the most meaningful, or it's the biggest gap we have right now. So I think just with anything else, it's just being focused and kind of, at least I know we did that at Lasso, right? Because I still come to you, I'm like, God, there's so many different things that this can do for us. But it's, pick the things that are going to be the most meaningful. Don't get distracted by the shiny other objects and focus on that, get some wins, and then the momentum behind it just kind of continues to build. So could not agree more, speaking firsthand from that as well. And then I know a lot of tools out there kind of vary in cost. So just kind of curious, how does cost play a part in that? And like, what are some of the ranges of systems that you've seen? Like if somebody doesn't have a CRM today, but they're considering one, what is that range usually?
I mean, again, there's many options out there on the market. Many of the CRMs these days operate on a per user per month basis. So you're paying per seat per month. A lot of them offer freemium subscriptions. So you start free and you have a product trial before you commit to go with that product. And then, for example, a tool like HubSpot can cost as low as $45 a month on their marketing plan. And the great thing about that is that tool can scale with you. So you don't need every single thing that HubSpot can do when you're first starting out. It's way too much. And they're constantly adding new products and new features. But that can grow with you. You can spend thousands of dollars a month if you move into their enterprise tiers. So one of the first questions you ask yourself is, okay, how many people on my team need a seat and what kind of access do they need to this tool? Because a lot of them too, so that per user per month, but there's also different degrees of permissions that they can have within the tool.
Is a seat considered, as I think about our customers, is it anybody who engages with a customer? Is it anybody who needs to communicate, or is it like just sales and marketing, or what do you usually see?
It depends on the tool. So again, you can have like view only access where most of those are unlimited. You can see what's happening, what's being logged in the CRM. But if you want to be able to create the automations, create the workflows, then you need a paid seat for that.
For those that may not know what that is.
A workflow is just an automation. So it can be something as simple as, when someone signs up for a blog subscription, we're going to email them every time we write a new blog. Or, if they give us permission to contact them, we're going to add them to our newsletter. Something as simple as that. Or it could be just super complex workflows that help you manage the way you run your whole entire sales pipeline.
Got it. Well, what else are things that they need to consider as they get started?
Quickly, just going back to budget. So there's more than just the cost of the product itself too. You also need to consider soft costs. So like how long it's going to take your team to get up and running on the tool. The implementation costs. Sometimes there can be a hard cost associated with that you would pay to the vendor. But also the time that it's going to take to set up the integration. So you need to consider other pieces of tooling that you have in your tech stack and how the data is going to flow in between those products, and make sure that sometimes you're going to need custom development to get that to work. Not always, but you need to consider that before you make the purchase.
What else?
And then you just need to kind of weigh up like, what are the nice to haves versus the have to haves? Again, some of the CRMs have all these bells and whistles, and yes, some of them may sound great, but really, do I need that? Maybe you don't need them right now, but maybe that's a feature that you could add in the future. So that's why I think it's important to select a tool that can grow with you as your company scales.
Does every company need someone to kind of own the CRM?
Yes, I think absolutely. You absolutely need a champion. You need someone who is responsible for keeping a laser focus on the data, who is looking for anomalies, looking for things that are broken to go fix. And it doesn't have to be someone's full-time role. I think somebody can take that on in addition to their day-to-day responsibilities, especially when you're first starting out. But ultimately, I think you do need a point person who's there to answer questions from anyone in the company who may not know what they're doing.
Is it hard to find someone to own? Like, is it, because I know each of the CRMs that exist out there, it sounds so overwhelming to say, I'm Salesforce certified. It's like all these, is it really rocket science? Does it have to be? Like, I'm thinking about, our companies that we talk to that they just want to get started like bare bones. So in your purview with all the CRMs you've seen, ease of use and being intuitive. Like I know we've used several here, And to me, I'm not a CRM expert or guru, but running revenue at Lasso, I live in our platform, in our CRM that we've purchased. And to me, it just has to be super intuitive, very easy for me to click around. So I don't know. I mean, how important is that? Because it can seem daunting when you see all these people with all these, certifications that you have to have just to run a CRM.
It depends, again, on the tool that you select, right? And ease of use is certainly a big consideration when it comes to making a CRM selection. Some tools require more development skills and some don't. And I think that's why I've always been a huge fan of HubSpot, because it is such an easy tool to use. I think literally anyone can go onto the HubSpot Academy, watch a few videos, and at least get the basics and learn how to use it. For the more sophisticated workflows and things, I think maybe you probably do need someone with a background at least to understand kind of CRM architecture and how data can be impacted, downstream. One little change here can, make a big oops later on. So you want somebody who's aware of things like that and understands the implications that certain changes can have.
You don't want to accidentally send out an email to everyone in your database.
So you definitely do that.
Well, let's shift gears a little bit, because I know this is critical, and I want to talk about data best practices, because you can spend a lot of time there, but talk to us about some of the best practices you think about, right? A company buys a CRM, it's kind of like, hey, now what? And now you've got to put the data in there and make it to where it's usable, not a lot of noise. But talk to us about any kind of good things that you've seen or things to avoid when it comes to data management.
I think this is a topic that I could talk all day about. That's something I'm certainly passionate about here. But absolutely, clean data is crucial to effective decision making. And I think the biggest thing that someone in my position can do is help everyone in the organization understand their part in keeping the data clean and understand the implications that bad data can have. Ultimately, bad data is giving leadership the incorrect information. It's giving them inaccurate or incomplete picture of the business. And leadership makes decisions based on what they see in the CRM. So it's really everyone's responsibility to keep that data clean and as accurate as possible. And also, it's embarrassing. You don't want to send out an email to, hey, Bob, when his name is Dan, so something, you just want the data to be as accurate as possible. And I think some of the things that you can do to help ensure that you've got clean data in your CRM is to prevent as much manual entry as possible. So really just making sure that data carries over from forms so that people aren't constantly having to fill in their name or their email address over and over again. And also restricting user access. So locking down permissions so that only certain people who need to be able to edit data can edit it, and everyone else can view it. That's fine. But you just want to reduce human error, because, people are moving fast and they're wanting to do their best, but, they're making little mistakes and little typos, and it can impact a lot of things.
I think about a lot of our customers, and, you've got some companies that focus on event staffing, and then you've got others that focus on the actual production. You've got some that focus on corporate events versus concerts. You've got some that specialize in user group meetings versus sales kickoff. So even just going in and creating a template of, this is who I serve, and understand, I know we've talked before on this podcast before, between your ideal customer profile and the perfect customer profile, and kind of setting up those nuances, right? Do we specialize in SKOs for the healthcare industry or the tech industry? Is it multiple industries? And then being able to segment each prospect as, is this a healthcare company? Is it a tech company? Because I don't want to send an SKO of a medical company to a tech company, right? Because you really want to, you want your message to resonate and really be relevant with them. So I think even just kind of understanding how you want to configure your data, how you want to organize it versus just having a bunch of names in there, which that data needs to be clean, but how are you segmenting your prospect data as well so your messaging can be correct and it's on point with who you're talking to. And there are ways to do that in bulk versus kind of, to your point, right, not just one by one. So I think those are just some of the things to think about for those of you that are considering pulling the plug. There's a little bit of work to do before you have that blank template, but it's not a massive, it's things you already know in your head and then getting it set up sooner than later versus we've got 20,000 contacts in there. Now what? Right. And they all look the same. There's nothing that really differentiates them. So I think those are some important things as well. Well, if you had, when you think about, I'm putting you on the spot here, but for the company out there that, again, because we're doing this episode because we've heard so many people say, I'm thinking about buying a CRM, or I'm thinking about moving up from a basic contact application to a full-blown CRM, what's the best piece of advice you would give to a company who's considering investing in a CRM?
I think the best piece of advice that I could give them is look for an all-in-one platform. So I cannot state enough how important it is to have a central place, your source of truth, and let all of the other products and data and solutions that you have flow in through that one central source of truth. It just makes everyone's lives so much easier. That way you don't have to say, okay, what was the last time we communicated with that guy? And what did we say? It's all in the one place for everyone to be able to go and reference, and you know exactly where you are at any point in time. And I think I just can't state enough, like, how crucial it is to be able to have your data flow in like that seamlessly, whether it's marketing automation or whether it's, coming out from your finance platform. Having an all-in-one platform is just can't be replaced.
Well said. Well, thank you for joining us, Kristen. I think this is a great topic. I know you're going to be a guest on The Loop in one of our Loop Ask Me Anything. So I know our customers are excited to kind of pick your brain on their specific use cases. But we appreciate you joining. For all of those of you out there, if you like what you hear and listen to, please be sure to hit subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please feel free to reach out to us at podcast@lasso.io. Thanks.
Thank you.